Hey guys, it's Brad Flynn here, and today we're talking about how do we stop losing customers. Given that it's really expensive, anywhere up to 5 times as much to get a new customer as it is to keep an old one, we're going to deep dive into what are the 6 most common areas that people lose customers and what you can do to get around them. Hey guys, Brad Flynn here, and I'm the author of Find Your Cash, which is the 17 fastest ways to bring cash into your business and also find your ideal employee. If you're struggling to find good people, this is the book for you. It'll help you work out what the systems are you need to provide in your recruitment and also what's the best question to get them. Now, without any further ado, let's rip in and see why customers are leaving you and what you can do to stop them from leaving you. First of all, let's get clear. What is customer service? I mean, it's a pretty spongy sort of thing, I guess, when you think about it. So let's take a look at a really simple definition of what customer service is. So for me, I like to keep things nice and simple. For me, customer service is a series of experiences to create a raving fan. Now, what's a raving fan? A raving fan fundamentally is someone who actually do selling for you. So we want to give our customers such an experience that they can't help themselves when they go out and talk to their friends or talk to other business partners and so forth, that they think you're one of the best people to do business with in whatever it is that you're dealing with. So that's our goal. We want to get customer service to be that good that we have raving fans. First of all, let's take a look at some of the reasons why customer services is so important, because if you don't have a focus on this, particularly in this day and age, you're going to get crucified. Yeah. So first of all, let's have a look at this really interesting statistic from the De facto Research Institute. And they discovered that 55% of customers would pay extra to guarantee a better line of service. So if your service is pretty ordinary at the moment, this is one thing that you might want to think about. To get a new customer, as it does to keep an existing one. So there's a bunch of money we're going to be leaving on the table and being burnt by not looking after the customers we've got. Or what about this one? A 5% increase in your customer retention can result in an increase in profits by anywhere from 25 to 125%. And the cool thing about customer service is it's probably not going to cost you a bunch of money to do some of these simple things that we're going to look at today. So, and how about this one? A commitment. This is from the Gartner Group. A commitment to customer service results in up to 25% more customer retention and revenue than focusing on sales and marketing initiatives do. See, what's the point in doing marketing if you haven't got the holes in your bucket? This is one of the things that I cover off in my book, Find My Cash. How do you plug the holes in your bucket for your customer service so you can keep tipping sales and marketing down the drainway by not looking after who you've already got? So again, if we really are to boil this down, the number one thing we need to keep in mind when we're talking about customer service is that repeat business is actually profit for your business. So I have this really simple formula. This is what I call my retention formula, and it's the basis for what you need to be building your customer service around. It's really quite simple. The retention you get will be based on the results that you provide, whether that's a product or service, and the quality of the relationship you have with that particular customer. If we step this through, let's say the time we retain our clients for is down the bottom axis, and the results that we get them is on the top axis. And the relationship also is what goes up the left-hand side. So when we start with a customer, they pay us for something, yeah? Really something quite basic. Then they stay. If we've got the relationship right, so if we're bridging this bit between the results and the relationship, they are likely to stay. They know us, they like us, and then the big kicker is when the relationship has gone to full maturity, the chances are that they're going to trust you a lot more and they're going to stay a lot longer. So they're going to refer you. Now, fundamentally, the results part is about 20% of the equation. That's pretty much standard. You can get that from whoever's selling that product in your marketplace. What we're most interested in is that relationship. And what is it that you're doing that's killing the relationship that you may be having with these clients and they're leaving and not coming back from you? So let's start to dive into these ones. First of all, 1% of your customers are going to die. Well, there's not much that we can actually do about that one. 3% are going to move house. In other words, they're going to go to somewhere else that's not near you and they're not going to be able to buy from you. Now, that doesn't mean they'll stop. There's plenty of stories around where people are actually traveling great distances to come and buy from them. Number 5, the third one there is 5%. They actually got a friend. You know, a friend's gone into business that they were buying from you, and they sort of, maybe feel a bit sorry for their competitor and so forth, that their friend, that they decide to buy from them. But here's the thing. The big thing you really want to keep in mind is the next one. The next one is what most people think is the biggest difference that happens. And it's really not the case at all. So what is it? Let's have a look. The fourth reason is they get sold by a competitor. Okay, now this is really interesting. They get sold, they don't buy. People don't like to be sold, but they like to buy. So a competitor's probably give them a better sort of perception of a deal and maybe over-promised and under-delivered, which happens a lot of the time. And this is the next one, product or price. Most people think that they, lose customers because they come too expensive or the product's not good enough. And that's true, but only 14% of the time. But here's the real kicker. What do you reckon it is? The number one reason, and there's a big percentage there that we can see is coming on, why people stop buying from you. And I bet you won't see this one coming. The number one reason people stop buying from you is perceiving difference. They think you don't care. They honestly think this person could not give a toss about me. So you know what? I'm done with them. And maybe you had a bad day. Maybe someone in your team was just feeling a little bit off color and so forth. And they decided, no, that's it. I'm done with that person. They've perceived you as being rude or whatever, and they've gone somewhere else. And you don't even know that they've left a lot of the time, which is really heartbreaking when you're losing customers. So now how? We're going to start to reduce that perceived indifference problem that we've got, to stop losing customers and stop having to invest a whole bunch more money into our sales and marketing. All right, so let's get clear. What's that going to look like? We talked about creating raving fans before, but now let's get a little bit more specific on what we're looking to do here. Great customer service. It's got to do these three things. It must be consistent. People, humans, like for things to be consistent. We don't like change. So we can't be radically brilliant one day and then really crappy the next day. Number two, make it easy to buy. Sometimes you might want to buy something and it just gets made so hard, it's too hard, you throw your hands in the air and you walk away. Unless you've got some goodwill, which we're going to talk about in just a second. And the third part is the wow factor. How can you get people to talk about you at barbecues on the weekend? How many times have you been to a barbecue and heard someone ranting and raving about a particular negative product or service? Well, straight away you go, we're not going to buy from them. What about the instance of when someone has a positive effect? See, here's the thing that happens when we start to get more of these positive experiences for our clients. So this is what I call the goodwill effect, okay? And you can imagine it as being like a bit of a scale, okay? So we've got this scale here, and it's a bit like a seesaw, this thing. You have to excuse my drawing. It's not real good, is it? But anyway, so when someone first starts with us, we've got no goodwill with them. And over time, every time we do something positive for them, we're able to put a little goodwill onto the scale. And eventually what starts to happen is over time, we're going to start to see this line start to even out a bit more, such that we're going to have more and more goodwill with this particular customer over on this end, such that roughly speaking, when we get 5 goodwills on this end, we can have 1 negative experience on this end and we won't lose our customer. So if we haven't been building up our goodwill and positive reciprocity for a customer, and this is why you quite often lose customers too soon, then you're going to lose them really quick. So we need to make sure that we're doing things that's building up goodwill with this particular customer in a way that's important for them. So in terms of that journey, what we're looking to do is progress them up something called a ladder of loyalty. Okay, so if you've ever checked out any of the Action Coach or Brad Sugar's material, I strongly suggest you do. This is where this actually comes from. So first of all, we've got down the bottom someone who's a suspect, someone who meets our target market. They then become a prospect. In other words, they might put their hand up and say, hey, how much is what you sell? A shopper is if they buy once, a customer is if they buy again. Then they become a member. We're starting to get some repeat purchases with them. They're seeing great value for money, and we're providing awesome customer service for each of these ladders to get them to the top where we have our raving fans. All right, so here's how it works though. 80-20 always kicks in, yeah? 80% of our people are going to be sitting down here at the bottom from membership down, and they're only going to give us 20% of our profits, as opposed to Our top raving fans and advocates, apart from actually providing a lot of our profit here, the top 20%ers, they give us 80% of our profit. They're also driving people back into the start down here so that we're getting more referrals and so forth. These are our A grade clients. Then now we've got our B, and then our Bs and Cs and Ds. Ds we can't deal with, they're dead. As are awesome. And we're trying to give them the opportunity to progress up this ladder. Now, not everyone's going to get to the top of the ladder, and that's okay. So what we need to be doing is, in this first part down here, is acknowledging them, saying thank you for buying from us. Then we want to be having that retention process. After we've got our marketing, we started our sales, now we're going to be working on how do we get them to stay? How do we remove that perceived indifference to get to such a point where they are super grateful to be dealing with us as their particular person? Some of the ways we can do this, down the bottom, acknowledgement, send them a thank you card, phone calls, emails, event invites. Do you have closed door sales or special lunches? Do you have VIP clubs or special occasion gifts? So let's have a look at it. What can you do with your customer service toolbox? First of all, just give them a ring. If someone's bought from you, give them a call. But what if we haven't got their details, Brad? Well, maybe you can include that as part of what your first initial purchase is, that you get their details in return for something. Booking their next appointment or session. You've got to be able to follow them up. If you have a repeat type business, book them in straight away. You've got a welcome email to get them going. And then once you've got them coming in, you want to be doing that well as you do. And then afterwards, you want to be following up properly. There's things on Facebook you can do. If you've got some great ideas, chuck them in down the bottom. Type up some of your suggestions. We'd love to hear them. What about SMSs these days? Flicking someone a quick message that's got quality content and is timed right for them at that particular event is really, really important. Social events. What if you put on, a VIP customer dinner? What about special life events, giving them cards? Maybe they get married, maybe they have a child, maybe you send them a bunch of flowers. Or if they're leaving, what if you send them a farewell gift? So what are some of the things that you can be doing here? What's your plan? One of the things your customers are going to expect from you each and every time as you're going along this journey, and that's part of life, we're either growing or dying, is they're going to be expecting you to keep innovating. Your customers are going to expect you to always get better, because guess what? Everything's constantly changing in the marketplace. So make sure you're doing things to keep getting better and better and better with your customer service. Now, if you've liked the video, click down below. You can subscribe. I'd love to get your feedback, any comments that you've got. There's a bunch of resources you can access down there. You can buy the book and so forth. But this is an interesting little quote I want to finish up with from Mark Twain. He said, "It's not what you know that gets you into trouble. It's what you think you know that just ain't so." The number one thing I hear most business owners tell me they think is their strength is customer service. Yet the reality is their customer service is never that good. So if you've enjoyed the video, share it, like it, comment. Would love your feedback. Click it in down below, and look forward to making another video for you guys soon. Bye for now.